What's going on, guys? Just a few years ago, everything imploded on me. And it was absolutely a disaster. And I'll tell you the story. And it was painful at the time, and it's actually painful even to talk about. Even though I like when stories, to me, when you can get over something and even become maybe somehow become better. And there's a lot of stories like that, I think, that are important. But I'll tell you this one more specifically. But even this one, it still hurts, even though I feel like I came out on the other end of it better. But and then we'll get to the point here. But now, just to give you a real quick backstory, over the years, as my wife and I were having kids, we lived in a small old house, and it was not a house you would look at and say, oh, these people are living prosperously. Just to give you the background, we drove, old used beat up cars, and and we did not look like we were going anywhere. And even though I was working on my business, I was working real hard. I had a plan. Like, I was trying to go somewhere. And this is probably about 2015 where I finally had a breakout year. Like, my first year where I'm like, okay, I made some progress, even though I was kind of going up each year. And so for the few years after that, it was still like I went up and then I would kind of go back down. It was like that, and it was real stressful. But anyways, hold on, guys. I'm in the middle of something. Go handle it.
I took one.
Okay, thanks. Good. Take care of it. Thank you. Thank you. Speaking of having a bunch of kids. Anyways, so let me get back to the story. So now fast forward to 2018, and I'm telling my wife, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll tell you what, we don't have a lot of money now, but our credit cards are maxed out. It's crazy. But by my 40th birthday, at the time I'm 38, I said, by my 40th birthday, you know what? We'll get a new house. We'll get that new house we're dreaming of. We've been looking at model houses. We've been doing all this stuff. I'm like, we'll get that house by my 40th birthday. Well, let's fast forward to my 40th birthday. And it did not happen. And it's not like, oh, you didn't accomplish a goal, big deal. But it was a lot worse. So just prior to my 40th birthday, we had our fourth kid, which was good, right? But right at that time, my credit had taken an absolute hit. And that's another story too. And I could not lease another car. So at that point, we had a leased car, and I'm like, all right. So we couldn't even lease a car, and I had no money. My credit card's all maxed out. We had to buy an old crappy van. Now understand, now we were not this picture of success, even though, like, in my, what I was working towards, we're going somewhere, and we were making some progress. And from the outside looking in, it probably looked like, it looked like maybe we weren't making progress. But I guess if you were paying close attention, you could say, yeah, here and there, I can see them making some progress. Okay, they got a new leased car. They went on a couple of vacations. Okay, he's working hard. Yeah, maybe things are progressing for them. And then all of a sudden, we're driving this old beat up van, got our fourth kid, and it's just not looking good. And then on top of it, it's Christmas Eve. My wife calls me because she works 1 day a week. She works 1 day a week at a hair salon. So it's Christmas Eve, and it's a Saturday. I'm pretty sure it was Christmas Eve. It was 2019 going into 20. And it was Christmas Eve. So I don't know if it was a Saturday that this happened, because she was working on Christmas Eve to do some clients' hair. And she calls me up and she says, the van broke down. I'm like, oh, oh my God, I almost fell off my seat. I'm telling you, it's traumatizing. Okay, so I'm home with our, 2 kids and actually our 4 kids, because I got the 3 kids and the baby now. And she calls me up, the car's broken down. Someone helped push her aside, and we were planning on going to church that night. So we had to borrow her parents' van. Well, this van's just totally trashed, and it was just like, and I'm trying to keep my composure with everything. I'm just like, hey, you know what, we'll get it together. And then it was horrible. And then we'll go past this. And then, we got the van fixed. And again, I didn't have any money at that time. And this is just, 5 years ago. I didn't have, any money. I was kind of in and out of the money. And at the time I was dry. I didn't have anything, and got the van fixed. And then it's like a month later, it breaks down again. And I remember telling my wife, we were talking afterwards. I said, you know what? I'm gonna get this thing together. I'm gonna get it. Oh, and now go fast forward to January, my 40th birthday, and even though it was a good birthday, I remember it. But I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, gosh, we were planning like, okay, by this time we should have a new house. We should kind of have our life getting our life together. But instead, it's I'm driving this crappy old used van that keeps breaking down. My credit's for shit. I've got no cash. My credit cards are maxed out. It's just a disaster. It's just an absolute disaster. So I tell my wife, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get this thing together. By my 41st birthday, we'll have it together. A couple weeks later, and I'm working hard. A couple weeks later, the quarantine hits. Like the whole COVID stuff hits. Now, my business prospered through that time because I was supplying a lot of essential businesses with computer stuff. So by a string of good luck. Now there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. So I don't want it to come off like, oh, I just got lucky, because yes, I got lucky in that, but it was a lot of work. It happened to be my clients were doing really good during COVID, so it helped propel my business. And then so business took off even more, and I was able to kind of get myself together. And then we ended up selling our old house, and then we ended up getting our new house by my 42nd, almost my 42nd birthday, because we ended up building it. But I'll tell you what, see, and this is the whole thing, what I was saying about, good lives are by design. Now there's, I'm just looking at the, make sure I'm still recording here. There's people who get lucky, right? We all know people who get lucky. They just, happen to, we're not even talking about those people. The people who get lucky, they're born into good families, good situations. They get good educations. They get maybe some family money, some family help, family connections. Forget those people. We're talking about people like you and I who have to, kind of just hustle and struggle and fight our own demons, fight our own battles. And I think that the people who end up having really good lives are either by design, or it's not necessarily because they're like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. It's more because you're putting your head down and you're working hard, and then good things tend to happen. I had a client, this is back when I first started my business. I was probably like 19 or 20 years old, and I was running just a little business, and I wasn't making much money or anything, but I went to this client's office, and he had a nice little office in a little office building, and on his wall he had, and this guy's name was Russ. I remember like it was yesterday. And I lost contact. I haven't talked to him in 20 years or whatever. I actually looked it up recently, and I can't remember if he's retired, because he was older at the time. I was probably 20. He's probably maybe in his 50s. So he's older now. That was a while ago. But anyways, on his wall he had a picture of in his office he had a picture of a small plane. And when I say plane, it wasn't like a private jet like Bill Gates would drive or fly. It was one of those planes like maybe like a two-pack. I don't fly. I'm not into planes, so I don't know. But it was like one of those like smaller planes, like maybe a propeller plane that maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people sit in, and the person flies. And I'm like, oh wow, Russ, you fly? He's like, yeah. He's like, I fly. I'm like, you got a plane? And what he said to me stuck with me. He said, yeah, Paul. He said, that's what 100-hour weeks will do for you. And I'm like, interesting, because this guy was a hard worker, and I think that's the thing. I think when you work hard, when you're hustling, you're trying to do something. I think that good things tend to happen. Like they say, we'll wrap it up on this. and also too, if you're not subscribed yet, definitely please subscribe. I'll keep bringing videos you like. And I think that, the old saying goes, we'll wrap on the old saying where, I forgot who said it. It was like a old baseball player or something said, the harder I work, the luckier I get. And I think that's true. I think that even if you say, okay, well, my life is not by design. I think if you work hard, good things tend to happen. And so other people might look at it and say, yeah, that was by design, but it's just because you're working hard. So I think that's the big takeaway is just keep, you're going to have obstacle after obstacle. And again, those are more videos we're going to get into. We just from this one video alone, I don't know if you caught different things throughout this video, but I can tell you there's just extensions out of different segments of just that one story of just, like setbacks and heartache, and you'll continue to have, if you haven't had those, you will have them. I assure you will have them, and we'll continue to have them. And I know I'm going to continue to have them. And after a while, when you get older, it gets a little hard because you kind of know what's coming in the sense that you don't know for sure, like, okay, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, but it's still not going to be easy. You're going to face more things. You're going to have family issues. You're going to have, there's going to be health issues within your family, within yourself, within, friends or people you love. And that's how I think about it. Now I feel like it's getting, I don't want to make this like depressive or negative, but we'll wrap it on that though. All right.